Now, live in HD, this is News 4 Today.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Jim Hanley. Today, we're talking about a program that's helping thousands of DC high school students to enroll in and graduate from college. It's called DC College Access Program, and with us today we have Tiffany Ballard, DCCAP High School Advisor at Cardozo High School, Argelia Rodriguez. She is the President and CEO of DC College Access Program, and LD Ross, Vice President for Programs at DCCAP. Welcome to Viewpoint to you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to go back to the beginning because this is such a tremendous success story. Back to '99, how did it all begin?
Well, really, it started with a group of businesses in D.C., ExxonMobil, Lockheed Martin, Washington Post, and the leaders of those companies came together and decided, you know, we really need to do something big for the city. Our kids aren't going to college. What can we do about it? So they mobilized their efforts and decided we're going to concentrate on this. And so we started in 1999 in September. We opened centers in six public high schools. And those centers, they serve kids starting from 9th grade to 12th, where they get counseling, advice on how to prepare for college, career choices. And then the following year, we opened in all the DCPS high schools, the following 20. And then about 4 years ago, we opened in all the charter schools. So now we're serving all the charters and all the public schools in this. And really have, over the years, been able to mobilize private funding just from around the country as well as locally here to support our students. Once they graduate in senior year, they roll into our college retention division where we stay with them for 5 years to help get them out, because as you know, it's much harder to get them out than to get them in. And then we give away approximately $2.7 million in scholarships each year as well.
So. I want to talk more about the financial piece later on in the half hour, Mr. Ross, but tell us about how many students you're working with currently, and over the years, how many you've helped.
Yeah, we're actually working with 18,000 students in both the public and the public charter schools now. In addition to that, we have 6,500 students that we're working with in college.
Incredible. And Tiffany, you are one of the success stories, shall we say. Back in 2004, you graduated from DC Public School, and then you went on to St. Mary's College to graduate from there in 2008.
Yes, and one of the most important things is that the DCCAP program was there for me from the very beginning in helping me to enroll into St. Mary's in 2008.
How did they encourage you? Was it a mentor, a counselor? Did they talk to your parents? How did the whole process kind of work? And were you thinking about college at that point, or was that kind of a dream for you?
Yeah, well, I was raised by my grandparents, so it's always instilled in me to go to college. It wasn't an option of was I going to go, but where was I going to go? So my DCCAP advisor was really that counselor and that mentor and that friend that helped me to make the right selection to choose in that college of my choice.
And now you're back, giving back and helping others. And I want to talk more about that. But is that one of the goals, too, that students will come back to our region and help strengthen the economy? You
know, absolutely. The corporations and the foundations who've supported this, particularly the local ones, their hope is to really enable the population in D.C. to get employment. And so we're hopeful that our college students come back and contribute, not just to the economy, but to the community as well. So folks like Tiffany and many of our other, actually we have several DCCAP students who are now advisors, and folks who are out in the community with jobs who are giving back in different ways. It's really it's the icing on the cake. It's the icing on the cake.
LD, let's talk about that financial picture and what a huge struggle it is for families, much more so than when this was founded back in '99.
Right. Absolutely.
How big of a challenge is it these days?
Well, with the poor economy that we have today, as well as the escalating cost of going to college, many of our families are really struggling with that financial piece of going to college. One of the big things is the unmet need. We're seeing the average unmet need around $12,000 per family. And just let me define unmet need. Unmet need is the difference between a family's financial resources. You subtract that from the cost of attendance, and that gives you unmet need. When we started 12 years ago, the majority of our students had no unmet need. Now we're seeing students with $10,000 to $12,000 in unmet need, and that's a big detriment in terms of going to college.
So how do you come in and make up that difference per family, per student?
Well, DCCAP has a very comprehensive counseling program as well as outreach program. We start from the very basics. We start with the FAFSA form, which is the free application for federal student aid first, and this allows our families to have access to federal funding, be it grants, loans, and work study. But in addition to that, we also introduce every child that's in our program to the Tuition Assistance Grant Program or the TAG program. And that's a very instrumental program for us because it allows students to get grant monies up to $10,000 for 5 years to go to any public institution in America. In addition to that, students who go to private historically black colleges and local colleges, private colleges in the local area can get up to $2,500, and students who go to two-year community colleges will actually receive up to $2,500 for 5 years too.
Wow,
okay.
What a difference.
And then scholarships.
And then we take it a step further because we also go after private scholarships. Each year we work with students with the Drakenberg scholarships, the Kiwanis Club, and just a host of scholarships. Almost every DCCAP student will apply for 2 to 3 additional scholarships. And even with that, that's still not enough. We're beginning to, we work very closely with the families in terms of trying to get them to save. This year we're working with the college savings plan with the district government in order to introduce all our families to this particular program so they can start putting money away for their students. We're actually going to start with the younger students, the 9th graders. We're going to have a contest this year for 9th grade students where they can win scholarship money. They can win, each ward will get 2 scholarships. One is for $2,500 and one's for $1,500. And the kids are going to write us an essay about how they are now preparing for college, and we will select 2 winners from each ward. So we want to encourage all our parents and all the listening audience to please encourage your 9th graders to get involved with this program.
Start them early.
Start them early.
We got to take a quick break, and you've got another contest coming up. We want to flash up a web address and phone number too. There is a voting going on with a competition, a contest, all to a big cap off at the Kennedy Center with a gala on March 5th, and you can take part. Learn more about the DCCAP program too by calling this number or going on their website. We'll be right back on Viewpoint. Stay with us. And welcome back to Viewpoint again. We're talking about getting DC students into and graduated from college. And our panel includes a success story we mentioned. I want to ask you, Tiffany, take us back to again, back in 2004. This was something that you knew you always wanted to do, is go to college. And now you're sharing that with other students so they can reach their goals too.
Right. So a lot of the things that my DCCAP advisor did was, help me to choose that right college. So I took a lot of what she did to help the students now, and it's really phenomenal, that whole base, that foundation that I can actually take from her to help the students. So a lot of what I do is relate to their stories. A lot of the students, they go through a lot of, personal struggles as well as academic struggles. And for myself, living in a household raised by my grandparents, they didn't have that foundation of college. So a lot of the students I see now actually fit that whole description, and not having parents at home to help them with that process. So I serve as that that foundation for them, and actually helping them. And the parents that are actually in the households with the students, I work with them as well. I work with students from 9th to 12th grade, and just basically do college planning, just financial planning. And Mr. Ross mentioned earlier about the college savings plan, working with 9th graders, and they're so excited. And so many of the parents are really excited, and I've already gotten a couple of the essays already, and I've read through them, and they're phenomenal essays. So it's that whole piece of starting early, to actually make college a success for students, because financially, it is really difficult. So it's important that, we as DCCAP advisors find that money for them, so that they can achieve their goals.
And who better to advise and counsel? Let's talk about, I've been hearing a lot about ninth grade, and she points out the earlier the better. That makes a big difference.
Well, no, yes. I mean, really, the earlier students and families are focused on post-secondary education, the better. Not just for financial reasons, which are very, very important, but really for emotional and psychological reasons. A lot of what Tiffany does, it's not just helping to find money and educating on planning and financial planning, is to instill a confidence in the student that you can go to college, you can do this. This is important. Regardless of where you're starting, we can help get you there. And so it's the relationship that we start with the ninth graders, and it goes on for 9 years through the 5 years of college, is critical. And the relationship that we have with the parents is critical too, because we have families where 3 and 4 children in that same family have gone on to college from a family where no one had ever been. And so for us, by doing that more sort of holistic investment in the family, we feel that we've broken the cycle of undereducation. We know from now on, in that family, those generations will more than likely go on to college. So it's very, very important.
You know, Mr. Ross, I want to talk a little bit about keeping the students in college once they're accepted and once they enroll. And I think back in 1999, before you folks even started up, what was it, about 15%, no more than, actually graduated from college. Are you improving upon that number, and how tough is that? Because in the past 2 or 3 years, a lot of people all over the country are having a tough time affording to stay in college after that freshman or sophomore year.
Yeah, as you indicated, it is a very tough job, but one of the things that our leaders at DCCAP had the foresight to do was to add a retention division to the program. We have retention counselors who are following our students in colleges, and we start with them in high school. We develop a risk matrix that allows us to determine who may get in trouble during their early college years, and we're able to focus on those young people, and we do things. We help them with developing what courses they're going to take, how to access their financial aid office, their registrar's office, and just picking roommates, how to navigate through that process. And our college reps. Yeah, college reps. We actually pay upper class students additional scholarship monies to work with the younger students at our higher attended colleges. And they do a wonderful job for us in keeping us abreast of what some of the problems or the trends may be at those particular colleges and universities. So we invest a lot of time in those students. And additionally, we have a lot of walk-in traffic. Parents come to see us about their kids, because oftentimes we have more information than the student has shared with mom or dad, because we get the grades from the students in college. We know everything about them per se, because they share this information. We have a very intrusive process going on here. And this
knowledge is a good thing. Get it out there.
Yeah, get it out there.
This actually allows us to be over the national average. We're seeing we're graduating about 38% of those students, but we're not going to rest on that. We want to get to the national average with our students. And when we first started, it was less than half that amount that was actually graduating. So we're more than double the amount of students who are graduating, and we triple the number who actually go to college. Because in fact, this is a little known fact, about 92% of all the students in the public and the public charter schools actually do college applications and are accepted into college, and 63% of them actually go on to college in the fall.
Wow. Well, if you'd like to learn more about the program, we're going to put up the address once again for DCCAP, and we're going to take another quick break and pick up the conversation from here. Again, learning more about their big program when we come right back. That's at the Kennedy Center, March 5th. And welcome back to Viewpoint. Again, we're talking about DCCAP, and there is a big event coming up March 5th at the Kennedy Center.
We're very excited.
But there's this talent contest leading up to this going, and everybody at home can go online and vote. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about this.
It's the DC Capital Stars Gala competition, and we do it at the Kennedy Center on March 5th. And what we've done is we've held auditions throughout the city. And students can come, they can either sing, it's instrumental, or dance. And in front of a group of professional judges, choreographers, producers. We whittled the field down to 41 finalists who are now at the DCCAP.org website. So we encourage everyone to go and vote. Then the top 10 vote getters will go on to perform at the Kennedy Center on March 5th in front of a group of celebrity judges. And the audience actually has handheld devices.
Really?
So yeah, it's
oh,
a hoot.
this is great.
It's a hoot. It's a hoot. And so the winners, it's all about scholarship money.
Yeah.
It's all about, you know, helping them go on to college, but it really, we highlight just, there's so much talent throughout the city, and a lot of times you don't hear the good stories about kids, you hear the bad stories. But we have such an incredible set of students in the city, and so this is just an opportunity to bring them forward and have the world to see.
What a big way to showcase the whole program. This has been a nonprofit from the beginning, privately funded. Talk about the need and who you'd like to hear from, not just individuals, but companies out there too.
No, we are completely privately funded, and our support is based on corporations and foundations who care about education. We would love the support of all the corporations in DC, because this is a DC issue, and these are DC students we're educating, and with the goal of helping the economy. So we are always soliciting funds and volunteers from corporations and foundations in the area, as well as individuals. You don't have to give $1,000 or $10,000. You know, you can become a regular giver. Give $100. That can make a difference. I mean, you know, just buying books in school now is a crazy amount. So you can give a book fund. You can help fund a kid to go to a college tour. So any level, you know, it's more than helpful. And so we encourage people to give, because we honestly believe that investing in education is probably the single most important investment that you can make, whether it's in an individual, the family, the community, and even a city, because it's long-term. It's exponential.
So true. Ms. Ross, you were talking about during the break, you've got students in all 50 states, mainly in colleges around our region, though, too. And some are going to junior colleges first, then transferring. There's so many options out there for them.
Yeah, there are many options out there for young people. And again, with the economy being so sour now, a lot of families have chosen to go the 2-year route first because it's cheaper, and then transfer to a 4-year school. But we do, in fact, have students at over 500 colleges and universities across America, not just the mainland, but we also have students at the University of the Virgin Islands also. So
which we should go visit.
There are more.
In February.
There are more than 7,000, I believe, colleges and universities in America. And when a student comes to us, it's our job to make sure that we find a college or university that's suitable for that particular child. So we have a lot to choose from, and we love doing what we do.
You know, and Tiffany, this is where Tiffany comes in too, because you're hands-on with this application process with students. You were talking about having backups and backups to backups, because it's a very stressful time for students anywhere applying to college these days.
Yeah, as a DCCAP advisor, we require our students to apply to at least 3 colleges, which one of them is a safety school. And always in my school, I take it a little step further, and I have them do 6. I have them do 2 safety schools, one of which has a college campus where they can stay with on-campus housing, because a lot of the times the students necessarily might not have the best grades, or they're not as academically prepared. So going away to a 2-year school that will give them that foundation and give them that educational support that they really need, but also giving them the opportunity to go away to college is really important, because a lot of times they want to get out of their neighborhood and go into a dorm and have that dorm activity and that dorm life. And just, you know, working with the students and identifying a college that fits them, and just, you know, having them not work to fit the college, but to have the college fit them. And, you know, you don't want to send a student away, far away, who is, you know, afraid to, you know, that whole comfort zone.
Sure.
So, so that's that whole thing, and it's working with students individually. You know, you're not going to select a college for all of the students, but you're going to select the one that's individually going to fit that student for their individual needs.
That perfect fit.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
perfect fit.
And actually, at DCCAP overall, last year we did over 22,000 college apps, and that came out to 6.3 applications per student. So our students have really exceeded our expectations when it comes to that.
And it's about choice, which a lot has
Sure.
to do with the DC tag legislation,
That's right.
and we're very grateful to our congressional partners who've pushed us because it's allowed DC students to have choice.
And that makes a big difference.
Which makes a big difference in
All right, we've got to
success.
take another quick break, and as we do, we're going to flash up the web address too one more time. We'll be right back on Viewpoint. Stay with us. Moving toward a big event coming up at the Kennedy Center involving DCCAP. This is a huge fundraiser, and it has a contest going on, as we mentioned, the DC Stars Talent Competition. Tell us about how big this is for you in terms of raising money and how
really
important it is to raise money.
It is
for the
critical.
programs.
This is our main fundraiser of the year, and for us it's critical. I mean, we're getting ready to send approximately 2,000 kids to college this coming fall, and so every penny, every dollar helps. And so we hope that the gala helps to inspire people to give, corporations to sponsor, and folks just to come out and support the kids and to support DCCAP and the work that we try to do for the city.
Mr. Ross, tell us a little bit about the money end of all of this too. And do you see people who, they could not go to college without this program, certainly?
Yeah, many of our students are first-generation college students. I believe the average income is around $35,000, $40,000, and with the cost of college is now rising, and some of your private colleges in the $60,000 a year range, it's becoming more increasingly important for us to be able to tap into financial resources across the city, as well as to extend our collaborations with other nonprofits, governmental agencies, etc., in trying to get our young people to go to college.
And Tiffany, you stay in touch with some of the students that you get into college?
Yeah, I do. This is my second year as an advisor, so a lot of my students from last year came back to see me on their break, and I'm so proud of them and so excited to see them. And so I'm always a phone call away, and they text me, so they're very tech savvy. And
stay in touch.
they're like, I need help with my FAFSA, and that's where that retention piece comes in. So I send the kids, I talk to them, and then I send them to their retention advisor where they can get additional help. And that's just like one of the greatest pieces that that DCCAP follows them. So I'm always here for them, but they do have another advisor as well.
How wonderful that you came back to give back. We want to thank you all and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
March 5th at the Kennedy Center.
Well, we hope you can join us.
The work that you've done over the years has just been tremendous,
Thank you.
and it's all giving back in the community, so we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we want to put up that address too. If you'd like to help, learn more about the resources or how you might be able to volunteer too, all you have to do is go to the web address dccap.org or call 202-783-7933. And that does it for Viewpoint on this Sunday morning. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Now back to News 4 Today.